Nicola Sturgeon has been issued a dire warning on her dreams of an independent Scotland by Anne Widdecombe, who predicted a difficult road ahead for the First Minister. Former Brexit Party MEP Anne Widdecombe argued Nicola Sturgeon would find it more difficult than she thinks to rejoin the EU. During an interview with Express.co.uk, Ms. Widdecombe argued there were both economic and political issues Ms. Sturgeon would have to contend with. Ms. Widdecombe said, "My bet is that Nicola Sturgeon and the EU won't come to an agreement at all. There are both political and economic roadblocks." The former Brexit Party MEP highlighted why these two issues would stop any prospect of Scotland rejoining the EU if it did win independence. She said, "I think that became obvious to Nicola Sturgeon in the very early stages when she went off to see the EU. Ms. Sturgeon confidently thought that she could detach Scotland and it could be part the EU. The EU said no, and there were two reasons for that. One was the economic reason. What is Scotland going to do for currency? The Bank of England flagged up that Scotland probably couldn't use the pound if it were completely independent, as it hasn't got the reserves. The EU were very reluctant that it should use the euro. What are they going to use for currency?" Ms. Widdecombe also outlined the political difficulties Ms. Sturgeon would face if she attempted to get an independent Scotland to rejoin the EU. She said, "The second question is the political one. It is all very well to say that Scotland wants to rejoin the EU, but you have got countries like Spain and the Catalonian problem. Spain doesn't want Catalonia to be independent, and if the EU starts encouraging independent break-offs in other countries, the EU will be in a very weak position to assert what they want to." Ms. Widdecombe concluded that Ms. Sturgeon is blissfully unaware of the difficulties of rejoining the EU or hiding her doubts while in public. The former Brexit Party MEP said, "Ms. Sturgeon will find it much harder to take Scotland on that independence course. If Britain does as well as we expect it to do from leaving the EU, the Scottish people may not be so keen to follow her down that route."